Hello and thank you for joining me. I am Sophie from Sophie's Flower Company. Today I'm going to do a really quick, very simple vase arrangement using British seasonal flowers. So next up we have got our gorgeous, I'm very proud to say, homegrown larkspur. So we are predominantly wedding florists and we are farm based now. We did used to be on a high street, but we've now moved to a larger location where we've got the ability to grow a little bit. We don't proclaim to be growers. We are part of the Flowers from the Farm organisation, which supports British growers. But we grew these this year and we're very proud of them. As you can see, homegrown, still got a bit of bindweed around the top. So I really love larkspur. It's a really fluffy texture and that really bright cerise colour is going to bring something to the arrangement. When you're selecting your flowers to put in a vase, have a think about texture. So here we've got really fluffy, lovely larkspur. And again, the ami is very fluffy. There's a lot of texture. It's almost like lace. Antirrhinums are a little bit softer. They're a bit more silky. So the contrast works really well. These larkspur, look how beautiful with all those stems coming off. Again, I'm working with the shape of each stem. Turning it around. I'm not trying to make it symmetrical. I'm just really letting them fall into place to give that really loose, lovely, wild feel. So this time of year, larkspur you'll find in the garden. Also foxgloves. Foxgloves are around at this time of year as well. They also create lovely shapes. When selecting the shape of your flowers, when you're selecting your flowers, it's really important also to think about shapes. So here you can see that actually the snapdragons and the larkspur are spires, what we would call spires, so they're pointy shapes, so they're dominant in the design. The ami's rounder, it's flatter, but it does draw the eye in a bit more. Okay, so I think that's enough larkspur for now. Gonna pop those over there. Okay, so next up I have got these amazing scabious. These are blackberry scoop scabious. As you can see, there's loads of lovely breaks on each stem. So don't feel that you'd need to use all of those in the arrangement. You can snip them out and add the little bit of texture as you go along. I really love scabious because not only do they look beautiful and like velvet, if you actually leave them in the garden, they turn into these amazing sort of pom-pom seed heads, which are great for drying and using them all year round. So these guys are going to give a little bit more height. The colour's really dramatic on this scabious. You can find that dark colours can create sort of almost holes in your design, especially if you're doing something that you might take a photograph of. So use dark colours quite carefully because they absorb in the colour, which, as I say, can make it look like there's a bit of a dark patch. But for this, where we're keeping it nice and airy, loads of room for the bees and the butterflies to move around, that's not a problem. I'm just going to cut a few lower down so that I'm going to bring the colour down a little bit. I'm going to snip these down so I've got smaller stems. Don't be frightened to have some of the heads hanging down in a really lovely loose fashion. Really sort of placed as if they're growing. And not everything faces upwards. Right, so I think a couple more of these gorgeous scabious. And then we will move on to the peonies. Right, I'm just going to keep those there for a moment. So, to really add some drama, we're going to add some gorgeous Sarah Bernhardt peonies. The peony season's nearly coming to an end. We're currently in July, although it doesn't feel like it because it's very mizzly and drizzly outside. So the peony season in the UK runs from sort of beginning of May to the end of June, beginning of July, dependent on the growers and obviously dependent on what the weather's been like. If you are out of season for peonies, we would probably say using lovely large-headed garden roses or hydrangeas later on, just to give that really lovely, big, fluffy feel. So as I was talking about earlier with shapes, I've got the roundness of the ami and I'm going to bring in the roundness, these big pom-poms of peonies. I'm going to strip off the foliage, cutting them a lovely sharp stem at an angle again and placing them in. So these would be considered our focal flowers. Focal being what really draws the eye in. These are the showstoppers, the one that you look at immediately. Again, I'm going to put them at different levels, as you can see there. But each one, nothing's overcrowded. Each stem has got its own space. Trying to bring a few more out around the bottom to bring a bit of colour around the edge. Okay. So you can already see with this pink, with the peony, just around the edge has got that really lovely bright cerise, which is picked up from the larkspur. You can also see on the snapdragons that it, putting with this dark scabious, brings out the deeper tones of the lilac. Spin it back round this way. Lovely. So looking at this design now, I've got quite a lot going on at the top. So I wasn't going to, but I think I'm probably going to try and work a bit of foliage up here a little bit and then just add a little bit of colour around the bottom. So I have got, waiting wings, some gorgeous Alchemilla moths. Again, this grows like wildfire in your gardens at this time of year. But bringing in this lime is really going to make these darker pinks pop. So we're just going to add almost a collar. I'm not going to take it up high because I don't think it will need it. I think it just needs a little bit of light more around the base of the design. As you can see, that sort of lifts the colours. Just a few pieces around the edge. These are really soft stems, so do be careful when you pop them in the vase. Especially if you're putting them at the end when it's quite busy already. So that's looking really, really lovely now. Take these bits off there. I think that's probably going to be enough. Right, and there we have a really simple, all-round British garden design. Perfect for your hallway or for your island. So do join us again for another tutorial. If you'd like to join us on social media, we're on Instagram and Facebook at Sophie's Flower Co. Thank you for watching.